lot of politics in the news these days, obviously. Lots going on at the national and the local level as well. Everything from homeowner association elections, city council, and on up the line to the presidential election coming up in just a few short days. Our next guest is somebody who is very active in the political process, and we're happy to have her on the show today, but you can't vote for her unless you move. Diane Harkey is with us today. She's the Assemblywoman, represents the 73rd Assembly District, just, I guess, to the west and south of us here in Laguna Woods.
That's correct. We're joining, and mine is probably one of the few districts that didn't change number. I was the 73rd before, and I'm the 73rd now.
Any change as far as the demographics or the geography of your district?
Oh yes, considerably. I straddled two counties previously. I was in San Diego. I had Oceanside, Camp Pendleton, a little bit of Vista.
Right.
And then South Orange County up to really where the 73 hits, kind of, let's say, towards the ocean from 73 and Aliso Viejo. My district now encompasses, it's all Orange County, all South Orange County. It encompasses San Diego, or San Clemente, Dana Point, Laguna Niguel, San Juan Capistrano, Laguna Hills, Aliso Viejo, Mission Viejo, Ladera Ranch, Rancho Santa Margarita, and Coto de Caza. It is a clean sweep of South County. That's
amazing because you've got some rural areas, undeveloped parkland areas. You've got some, I guess, the still remaining ranches, if we have any in Orange County, might still be in your district. And of course, now you pick up the ocean, Dana Point, and the beach, and all of that as well. So you've got the, as Jerry Dunphy used to say, from the desert to the sea to all of Southern California. You're pretty much almost there. Not quite the desert yet, though.
Not quite the desert. They'd like to make us a desert, though, cutting off the water throughout the state.
Good issue. Let's talk about the water, because the reality is the population's in the southern part of the state. The water, at least the state water, is in the northern part of the state. We do get some water from the Colorado River, and I saw a program recently on the Weather Channel where these guys are shooting at glaciers up in Alaska, selling the glacier ice to a plant that melts it down and sells it as pure bottled water. So all kinds of alternatives. What's your take on the water? How can we get a better shake and a better deal with that Northern California water?
Well, first we have to change the mindset in the state of California that tells us we're going to increase population by 50. We're going to have 50 million people soon for transportation needs, which is why they have to cram a high-speed rail down our throat. But we have to have zero growth for water. Now that doesn't make sense. We are not a desert here. We are a Mediterranean climate. We do have moisture. We have groundwater. We have desal. We can do a lot of things with water. Unfortunately, we are restricted in our water usage. And I've been fighting this for years at the local level. If the state water is not a state resource, most of our water that's shipped in comes from Northern California.
Right.
I have always considered that a state resource. It's water for the state of California. Unfortunately, Southern California and Northern California divide on that issue. It crosses partisan lines. And if you are south of Sacramento, you are considered Southern California for water uses, and it's their water and they don't want us to have it.
Exactly.
So my opinion is fine. Let us either pay you for your water, if that's what we need to do, or let us produce our own. Set policies that work for Southern California, because right now we're ruled out of Northern California that doesn't want us to have the water.
A lot of issues with all of that. And you mentioned desalinization. Some amount of that going on in some experimental plants, I believe Huntington Beach, and of course Catalina has been doing it for a number of years. Obviously it's expensive, but the alternative is not enough water, so that may be just one of the ways we go.
Well, it's very expensive because we're not allowed to produce it in the quantities that we need. We're allowed to produce it just for replacement for what we should be getting from the allocation.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of things we can do in Southern California. Southern California is grossly underrepresented in the state capital. We are ruled totally out of San Francisco, Berkeley, and Sacramento, and they don't understand us, nor do they try to, nor do they come south. So that's my goal.
You would think that with Los Angeles County so densely populated, though, we'd have a lot of representation, at least from that part of Southern California.
Well, Los Angeles County gets a lot more financial support than any other county, I think, in Southern California. However, they're not as emphatic on pushing for Southern California needs as a whole. I have found, though, that when we were in the water issue, the LA group contingent in the legislature did unite for Southern California issues, and that's how we were able to negotiate some of the water regulations and restrictions, along with the water bond that you found that was supposed to be funded by the entire state, i.e. Northern California, Southern California, that still hasn't reached the ballot. So things happen, you know, but you're better off with LA.
Some of us remember the 70s and the whole peripheral canal debate, and now they're talking some kind of a tunnel or a pipeline or something. So there's all kinds of things. Let's move on to something you touched on. I know you feel very strongly, negatively, on the high-speed rail proposal. We talk about transportation and, you know, lots of options and ways to get around. People with bicycles and smart cars, and I guess segways aren't happening anymore, but the high-speed rail, light rail, all kinds of proposals for that. You've been very strongly opposed to that.
Regional rail we need. Everybody would like to get on a train and go here and there to a regional center for work purposes. We need transportation to get to and from work. We don't need transportation to get to and from LA to San Francisco. We have Southwest. That is the best high-speed rail that we have, and I use it every week to get to Sacramento. We have economy lines, airfare. What high-speed rail is going to do is going to suck all of your local transportation dollars out to fund a master plan of transportation, which is not 21st century. Steel and wheels and bikes are not 21st century technology. They are 18th century and 19th century tech. So, you know, for this forward-looking state that we have, we're really heading in a reverse position. And we're also limiting our options for other transportation modes that come down the way. We're going to be so indebted for this. Right now, we're potentially spending $6 billion at a time when we don't have any money, although $3 billion is supposed to come from the federal government. But that's $6 billion for 65 miles somewhere between Fresno and Madera. Now, that is not a transportation need, nor is it a wise decision.
Is part of the problem that everybody goes, oh, I'm for transportation, I'm for rail, but I don't want it going through Irvine, I don't want it going through Mission Viejo, I don't want it in my backyard? Is that part of the issue?
No, I really don't think so. We have rail. We have a lot of commuter rail. We just don't run it efficiently. It doesn't connect county to county. We don't have depots where people can get off. We don't have any regional transportation once you arrive at your destination. That's always been the problem with any kind of regional rail. What we don't want is blasting through with 14-foot berms and a bunch of little whirly-birds, because high-speed rail is electric. And we're being cut back on electricity in the state, and I'll go into that later. But does everybody really want those little windmills going through their communities? I don't think so, but that's the vision. And if you pull out the high-speed rail website, you will see, got all the whirly birds coming down through your neighborhoods. That's not our idea of transportation.
We hear about the French and the Japanese and the Chinese with some of the high-tech rails that they have over there. We hear about the maglev technology and all that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about traditional Johnny Cash railroad song type of thing.
We are talking about trains that can potentially go up to 220 miles per hour. That's been the plan, although there's no train approved in the United States for over 200 miles per hour, and maglev and all the modern technology goes much faster than that and uses different technology. We are building a track without electrification, 65 miles, $6 billion, with no train set yet in mind. So we'll probably have to rip that out. This is pure and simple waste. It's waste of money. Obviously
a strong issue that you feel definitely about. We have your opinion on that very definitely. You mentioned energy, and let's talk about something that's become in the news lately, San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station. 3 units. Unit 1 shut down because of obsolescence, I guess. Unit 2 temporarily shut down. They'd like to restart it. Unit 3, the newest of the 3, apparently some technical leakage problems or whatever. A big seminar, a big hearing was held recently down in that area. A lot of people turned out with every point of view on the issue. What's your take on San Onofre? It is in your district. What's your feeling on reopening it, restarting it?
San Onofre right now is in the federal hands. The NRC is looking at it, Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It is shut down at this point. So what I don't want to do is create this big scare, and that's really what's kind of happening. We do need power. Right now, power is being substituted while San Onofre's down. Power is being substituted from the, there's a from Huntington Beach.
Gasoline fired.
Yeah, gasoline fired, as well as the new, there's a new link, Sunrise Power Link, that's coming out of Arizona. But the bigger problem that California has is going to be with cap and trade. Cap and trade is going to punish generators of electricity in California, but it's going to allow us to import. So it's going to benefit those who distribute to California. Mm-hmm. We are, in essence, creating another potential Enron situation by not providing ourselves with power, nuclear or whatever. You know, we've only got 2 nuclear plants in the entire state. Nuclear
has got its proponents and opponents as well, but the other aspect, I know you mentioned the other kinds of power that was generated. I think one of the big issues is coal-fired. A lot of people have issues with coal, both the way it's produced and also what it produces as far as air pollution. Other than coal and nuclear, what do you see the future for our generating needs?
There's clean coal now. There's a lot of, I mean, everybody can find a problem with any kind of electricity or power generation. There's always going to be some side effect. The bottom line is there's a lot of them that become very, very clean, and we have to have power. We do not want to become a third world nation, and that's what we're slowly becoming, because we are cutting ourselves off from agriculture, from power production, from the refiners that we have in the state for gasoline are going to be converting after cap and trade because it doesn't make sense for them to refine. So we're going to be importing. If you think gasoline's high now, just wait. And if you think electricity is high now, just wait. The state of California is on kind of a death spiral with regards to how it's going to support its population and people. And that's what I'm fighting for. Southern California is the bulk of the population. Right. And we are the ones that are going to be most drastically affected by some of these extreme policies. Why would we limit ourselves to get import and create another Enron situation where we're subject to everyone else's whim, whether we get electricity or not? Now, CalISO is our independent systems operator, has been put in place to kind of monitor, but we should be producing and helping ourselves. There are all sorts of methods of ways of producing power.
You weren't too much for the wind power, it sounds like. What about solar powered, solar generation?
The problem with wind power and solar power is it's not economically feasible. There's not enough of it. To start it for certain locations, that's great, but it's not going to replace petroleum, clean coal, or any other kinds of power that we have. It's just not going to.
We are seeing some localized uses. I noticed the senior center here has solar panels on the roof. I was visiting my grandkids' elementary school in Irvine yesterday. They have solar panels on their roof. So we are seeing some localized uses of solar, and even some of the homes here in the village have added it as well. So
yeah,
it takes the time for that new technology.
It's a good idea, but it's not going to replace the traditional power. It just never will. It's not consistent. You're not capturing it right now. And in fact, solar is another area that is going to be regulated by cap and trade.
Yeah. A lot of issues. We thank you for sharing your views with us today.
Thank
Good
you
to have you
very
on the program.
much.
Again, you can't vote for her unless you want to move to Conde de Casa or something. We'd like you folks to stay here in Laguna Woods. Diane Harkey, our guest today. Assemblywoman from the 73rd District. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
We'll be continuing on with more news and more guests as our program continues for you right here on Channel 6 after this.